Hey guys, it's Pastor Justin. I'm here with another Snapshots from the Bible. It's almost Christmas here, and it's looking like that out here in Buffalo as we have a lot of snow. And we're looking at a world that is just majestic right now. It's covered with whiteness, and we're seeing just how we're hunkering down for the winter. But in the spring, all this will come back alive again. And we went through this past Sunday, we went through John 1, and there was, you don't have enough time. You never have enough time in a sermon to talk about everything you want to talk about. But in John 1, it talks about how, as John is introducing Jesus, how in him all things were made and nothing that's been made has been made. Uh, John is saying every single thing that has been created was made by Jesus, which is an astound when you really think about it, how the creator of every single person, every single thing came down here and existed among his creation is tremendous. Like every person Jesus met, he directly made that person. Every leaf, every grass, every hill, he made all that. I mean that must have been tremendous for him from his perspective to be among his creation that he loved so dearly. And it's also why it wounded him so greatly to see people in sin rebelling against him and their hard hearts hurting each other. Um, one part of his creation hurting another part of his creation. But I want to kind of look at that today because I don't think this is a concept we really let soak in. That Jesus Christ not only created everything, but he holds everything together. And that's what we call the sustaining power of Jesus. I want to back up before I go into today's verses and talk about a little movement that started in the 17th century called deism. And you might have heard it. I think Thomas Jefferson was a deist. There was a lot of deists. Deists believed that there was a God, but effectively God created things like a wind-up toy. He wound it up. He wound up the universe, and then he just let it go and stepped away and had nothing else to do with his creation. He just made something and then put it over there on a shelf and busied himself with some other projects or whatever. Deism believes that God is not immanent. God is not interacting with our world. Whereas Christians, we believe that he is nothing but immanent. He is transcendent, he is above all things, but he is also in all things as God. And here's some key verses to counter deism and also to get us to think about just the sheer power that Jesus Christ has. Colossians 1:17 says that Jesus is before all things, before not like time-wise, but also above. Before all things, and in him all things hold together. Every cell in your body is held together by the power of Jesus' word, by his might. Everything, every quark in the universe, the sun is held together by Jesus' sustaining word. Acts 17:28. For in him we live and move and exist. You can deny Jesus. You can deny God. You can say there is no God and I'm going to live my life the way I want to live my life. But I'll tell you what, you're doing that act of rebellion by the sheer power of his word. He's allowing you to do that, but he's still allowing you to exist. You're rebelling, but you're rebelling in the life he gave you and the life he allows you to exist and move. And that's really awesome. Every day you wake up, you draw in breath. That's because of Jesus Christ. Moving your body right now, me talking right now, Jesus Christ. Everything that happens. So I watch a little squirrel run outside my window. That's Jesus Christ. He holds all things together, allows all things to move and exist. 1 Corinthians 8:6 says, Yet for us there is but one God, the Father, from whom all things are all things, and we exist for him, and one Lord, Jesus Christ, by whom are all things, and we exist through him. You exist through Jesus Christ. And not only do you exist through him, but for those of us who can him our call ourselves children of God, he is the one who not only caused us to exist, but he causes us to become saved through his grace, through his sacrifice. He's able to do that. We exist through him, not just in this life, but in the next. He sustains us. And then finally, Hebrews 1:3, just a great verse here. And Jesus is the radiance of his glory and the exact representation of his nature, and upholds all things by the word of his power. And if that's kind of ringing a little bell, this phrase, this idea of the word of his power, think back to creation. How did God create? It doesn't say God rolled up his sleeves, took his hands, and started molding the world. It said he said by his word. When God talks, things happen. All God has to do is say, and it will be. He says, let there be light, there's light. He says, let there be land, there's land. He says, let there be humans, there are humans. All things. And he not only creates that, but he continues to uphold it. And just study the sheer scope of the universe. Just try to like spend an hour and do some Wikipedia rabbit hole, entries, and just look at how many galaxies there are, how many solar systems are in this galaxy, how many suns. Jesus Christ is upholding all of that through his power, and it's not more than he can handle. He can handle all that and so much more. He's moving everything. He's got all the orbits. He set all that into place, not just on our one little planet, on the entire universe. Every person who's ever lived, God upholds. Jesus Christ upholds. He holds all things together. He puts them in their place. That's why when Job is complaining to God and God finally answers Job at the end of that book, God effectively says, Job, where were you when I created the universe? When my word set everything into action? Where were you when I held everything up by the power of my right hand? Where were you when I set the rivers and their territories, and when I made dinosaurs, and when I did all this stuff? Where were you? Your power is so small, Job, but mine is beyond your wildest imagination. Jesus Christ upholds all things. Let's not limit him in our mind to just a man. Although he was a man, he was the God man. He was the God man who came among his creation, who became born as a baby. And that should just blow your mind to think that a God who created all things, sustains all things, holds all things together, loved you so much that he came down to be born as a baby, to live among his creation, to be crucified by his creation for you. God bless. Have a wonderful week.